Alright guys, so here I am. My water pump just took a dump on me. It hasn't been leaking or anything, but I don't know if you can tell, kind of collapses my hose. So definitely has been sipping somewhere. So I already started the job, obviously, like always. I always think about recording afterwards. So, but I already took off the fan, the belt. It's pretty simple. Let's make sure that the fan is threaded like that, backwards, from where the engine spins. So you wanna get the big lug nut from the fan to turn this way. Okay, this way. Usually with a hammer. I use my air gun. This little thing, the impact. That makes things easier, other than having this special tool and whatnot, blah blah blah. So I did that. I gotta take this pulley, and all you gotta do is just really hold one of them while you loosen the other one, and just keep on spinning around, doing the same process, and you'll be good to go. So yeah, I already did that. This is a good time to check your pulleys. This alternator is gonna go out sometime. And this thing down here, this is for that EGR crap. All this EGR stuff. I would love to delete that stuff if I can. Sometime down the road though. Right now I can't be messing with that. But yeah, this is your power steering pump. Your idle pulley, which I'm gonna replace. The new one, they come plastic. Sadly, they do. So I'm gonna replace that too. And the water pump. Got some oil leakage there somewhat. I'm gonna try to clean that mess a little bit while I got the water pump out. But yeah, that's what's happening at the moment. I'm gonna replace that, and I haven't shown you guys, but I already got an utility bed on it, so it helps me with the mechanic work and whatnot. So we'll see, but yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. Alright, hold on, I'll keep you posted in a second. Alright guys, so I already took my water pump pulley. Here's the water pump. See this movement here? The bearings on it are shot. Surprisingly, the bearings are shot, but it still hasn't leaked any water. That's just from the rust spray that I use to loosen up the bolts and then the lug nuts and whatnot. So it really hasn't leaked anything. The thing that I noticed was that it was making a squeak noise. So I replaced the serpentine belt last night, and I replaced that, and while I took it off, I played with it, and it had this play here. It's not supposed to have that play. So, and I think after replacing the water pump eventually, what I think I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to get an electric fan. Reason being, not because of power gains or anything, but mostly because I want to take the stress out of the power pump, out of the pump. I want to take that stress from the fan. So probably I'm gonna put an electric fan, and it's gonna sit, somewhere around here, I'm assuming. I don't know what I'm gonna come up with, but yeah, that's my guessing that I want to be doing later on. So, but for now, let me keep on ripping it apart. We got this coolant, this hose right here. These two hoses that go to the heater. So these ones are going into the inside of the cab. These are your heater hoses. Outlet and inlet, no, inlet and outlet. So this one goes back to your thermostat housing. So if you ever if you ever start getting water, cooling water inside the cab, just bypass these two hoses, make a U shape one to the other, and you'll bypass that section and you're good to go. So now I'm gonna go on and try to take the hoses off, and once I do that, I'm gonna be making quite of a mess. That's alright, it's bound to happen with water pump replacement. So yeah, let me get that done, and I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so the water pump is out. 4 bolts. That's what my engine looks on the inside. I thought it would be worse than that, since I saw a lot of mixed water and coolant coming out, but it's not that bad. I thought I was going to be seeing rust in there, so that's a good shape. Now, my engine wasn't overheating at all. It could have been, but the temperatures were always consistent on the gauge, so I never thought that it was going to overheat or is being overheating or anything. Never lost power, nothing like that. Now I'm going to show you guys what this water pump looks like, and I'm pretty sure you're going to be surprised the way it looks. So voila, this is the water pump. Now if you can see, this is where it spins the water. I'm sorry. Okay, that's supposed to spin the water, and it's supposed to have a plate back here. Okay, this is completely shot. I mean, I'm surprised that the car wasn't overheating. The only thing moving the water is the little blades. If you can see that, okay, those little blades is the only thing moving the water, but it's not keeping any of that water properly because there's no plate, so there's no vacuum, in other words, through the pump itself. That's weird. Now this is the new one it's supposed to be looking like. See, the same plate on the back. It's a really thin layer. I don't know if you can see that right there. There we go. You see that little thin layer there? That's supposed to be that plate right there that's kind of gone on this one. See that? So that's the plate that took a crap on here. So that being said, then again, we got that shaft plate, and you can barely spin it. See this? This is like really tough right now. This is really hard to spin. It has that shaft plate, and I really have to put some torque into it to be able to spin it. So this pump is obviously shot. This is a new one. Okay, and you see how easy that spins compared to the other one. So yeah, so now I'm going to put the new one back on, but first I got to clean up the mess that the old pump left there. You got to scrub all that off and make it pretty flat and even, and I'm going to see if I can clean some of this oil. So I'll get back to you guys in a second, show you how it looks. Alright guys, so now I got that surface cleaned up as good as I could. If this thing will focus, here we go. Okay, now I'm going to put my gasket on my new oil pump. Now I want to show you guys a trick so that the gasket doesn't move from the oil pump. You put little dots of silicone, ultra black silicone, oil resistant and whatnot, high temperature, so that when you put your gasket on, okay, it holds it in place, so that way when you're trying to put your studs in, you're not ripping through that gasket. See how nice and tidy that stays in place? Okay, that's the easiest way to put it on. Obviously you still gotta play, but you got your bolts all lined up and you should be good to go. So now I'm at the point that I'm going to be putting that on, and I kind of cleaned up a little bit the surface and whatnot, but this is where your cam goes That's your cam gear in there. So then your lifters are back here. Your rods, your lifter rods and whatnot. So that's been done. So now I'm at the point that I'm going to be putting it back on, and we'll see how this goes. I'll keep you posted in a second. Alright guys, so she is in. Now, I had a little bit of a hard time due to the fact that this pipe, okay, it was kind of bent the wrong way for some given reason. So it was hitting with this bracket, so I couldn't line up the studs on the pump. So if you have that problem, just get a little tube or something. That way you can move this a little bit, just enough, so you can line up your bolts. And I'm sorry, and you should be golden. So now I'm gonna put back my hoses, and yeah, I'm gonna put back my hoses, the one on the bottom, the two up here, install my pulley, install my auto pulley here, and then put my fan back on and whatnot. But I'll show you guys step by step how to do about it. So now I'm just gonna connect my hoses back on, and then we're gonna swap the other guy here. I'll be right back. Alright, so my hoses are back on, and the one on the bottom as well is back on place. Now I'm gonna do my idle pulley. This bad boy here goes like that or so, with the bolt on and whatnot, and then use the same method that I told you guys. So basically, I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. So imagine that you have your 4 bolts in there. You get a flathead screwdriver or something. You stick it on in between the screw and the thread here, just to hold it in place so you can loosen up the other ones. And you're going to use the same method to tighten it back up again. Okay, so without having any tension or any special tool, that's the way you're going to use it to put it back up. Okay, so I'm going to do that real quick, and I'm going to change this pulley here, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I tighten this guy the same way. I'm going to show you. See, you put it in here like that, and then on the other hand you got your socket, you know, to tighten out the bolt. So that's how you do it. Now I'm going to be changing my pulley. See, I already took it. That's a 15 millimeter. 15. Take that off. Then this is the original pulley. Now the reason why I'm changing is that I have a new belt, and I should have changed this one too. But this one has still a somewhat good surface. This one, you see how it's peeling off unevenly and whatnot, so that kind of translates into the belt, and it kind of wears out the belt on the other side. So I'm going to be putting a new one. Sadly, the new ones, they're plastic, so I don't know how long this is going to hold up compared to a metal one. Either way, it's the lifespan of the bearing. Rare the occasion that the plastic ones they crack, really rare, but they do happen. It does happen. So I'm going to be putting my new one on. So the good thing about this one is that it has some walls on the side there, so that the belt kind of rides in it. It doesn't pop out. Some cases, sometimes when it gets wet or oil somehow one way or another gets on this one's, the belt tends to slip out. Okay, so I'm guessing that's why they engineer the new one, to kind of prevent that from happening, but at the same time you're losing quality on part compared to metal to plastic. So I'm going to be putting this guy in right now, and the belt, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so interesting enough, there's a problem. I can't put this belt on, this idle pulley on. I don't know if you can see those markings there. the complete white marking around it. And on the other side, I tried both sides just in case, but when you tighten it down, this loop here, this circle, it bites into this postus? I don't know what you want to call this, but it bites into it, so it won't allow me to bolt it down. So I don't know if it requires some sort of washer, but it didn't come in the box. So if I put a spacers on it, I'm pretty sure I should be able to use it. But then I wonder if my belt is going to be off center. Let me see if I can find a spacers or something that I could put, some big wash or something that I could put in there. But I'm not liking this idea, I'll tell you that much. So let me see if I can find something that I can space it out just enough. If not, back to the drawing board and putting the original one back on. Be right back. Alright guys, so I tried to put a washer on it. I had to open the hole a little bit bigger. Okay, I don't even know why I was doing this, but I gave it a shot. I put it in there, I put the idle pull in, and still did not work. So I'm going to install my old one back on, because I'm not going to be spending more time trying to figure out a spacer for that one. So for sure, that pulley is not the correct one. So I gotta go back to Advanced Auto Part and give him hell for it. So that's what I'm gonna do. But for now, I'm gonna put everything back together, slap it all back together, and we should be golden. So yeah, I need to get a new radiator. That looks disgusting. For sure. But for now, I got a new water pump on. I'm gonna be putting my belt back on, put my fan and all whatnot, and fill it up with water, bleed it out, and good to go. I'll be right back. Now, for any of you that are looking for a diagram on how the belt goes, it's just like this: tensioner, power steering, AC compressor, water pump, loops down to the crank, EGR compressor or something, and then alternator. Okay, that's how you do it. So that's done. Now I'm gonna put my fan and whatever plastic thing is. Yeah, man, I'm trying to get this done quick. Mosquitoes are killing me right now, and it's daytime yet. See this? It's daytime. The mosquitoes are killing me. Freaking Florida. Alright guys, be right back. Alright guys, so I'm in the process of bleeding the system out right now. I cranked it up, everything's looking good in there, the way it's supposed to be. I'm ready to put the heater on, so gotta get all my air bubbles out, and then I'll be good to go. Like always guys, share, subscribe. If you guys have any questions on how to fix things, let me know. I'm pretty handy. Obviously I'm a mechanic. But yeah, this is my new setup. Utility bed on my f150. 2.5 inches lifted in the front. I still got to do alignment. I got the alignment thing coming on the mail, so I should be able to put that on and then take it for an alignment. That way I don't eat up my tires. And I got to do a 3-inch lift in the back, because it's kind of sagging in the back a little bit. But yeah, 17 water pump replacement, 17 and tensioners and whatnot. So eventually I'm gonna go electronic, just to eliminate that big fan from there. But that will be another video, another setup. But for now, like always, share, subscribe, help me help you. Alright guys, to the next one.